Okay, I'm a West Stitch. Hi everyone, thanks for joining our Lunch and Learn today. Diane Ryder is here with me. My name is Katie Kenyon. I'm one of the physios. Diane's with the crisis team. And we're just going to talk a little bit about our falls prevention policy, our falls prevention program, and elders group, which are kind of all tied in together. We are going to start with a little bit of movement. I would not be doing my physio job if I didn't make you guys move a little bit. So you can do this sitting or standing, whatever's most comfortable for you. And but maybe if you're gonna sit, just move away from the table a little bit so you've got some room to move. Okay. So you're gonna have to put down your lunches, and we're just gonna do a little bit of mobility work. Okay, so the first movement we're gonna do is we're gonna take our arms out in front of us. And we're gonna reach our thumbs forward. Good. And then we're gonna pull back like we're pulling on the reins of a horse, like, whoa, Nelly. Nice. Let's do that again. So we're just rounding forward, pulling back, whoa, Nelly. So we're just getting a little bit of movement into our spine and our shoulders. Nice. Okay, you can bring your arms down, maybe shake them up a little bit. And this time we're gonna bring our arms up into what I like to call I Dream of Jeannie, if you remember this show. So the little nose wiggle is optional. Maybe I'm dating myself, but so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna side bend. Okay, nice. Just going where it feels comfortable, and then over to the other side. So we're just lengthening through one side and then the other. So let's do that a few times. Sometimes we get so busy with our morning routine and getting to work and getting our day going. It can feel nice to just stop and move for a couple of minutes. And I'm assuming everyone on Zoom is joining us right now in these. Good. We can bring our arms down. So next we're going to go for a little kayak paddle. We're going to bring those movements together. So we're going to hold our paddle out front, and we're going to kind of pull forward, pull the paddle blade through the water, and then over to the other side. So this is where we bring those movements together. Our spine coming forward and back, and that nice rotation, side bending. Nice. So these are some of the movements we do at the elders group, amongst others, but just working on, some different positions of the body than how we often move through the day. So sometimes we breathe. and breathe. And breathe. So sometimes they say we're going on the little paddle and Chiniki Lake. Or sometimes on the Bow River. Sometimes we go for we do some swimming movements. We pretend we're in the Caribbean Sea. Okay, nice. You can bring your arms and just shake it up. Great. Thank you for doing that with me. I appreciate it. You can have a seat. We'll get started. Okay, so our topic is falls prevention through community connection. I'm going to talk about kind of how our falls prevention policy started and kind of where it's gone from there and where we are today. And I have to mention our dear friend Sikin right at the beginning, because she was really the driver for implementing our falls prevention policy in 2018. And this was part of the accreditation for the health center. And then she's, has done such an incredible job building up the programs and with the elders. And I learned so much from her. So unfortunately, her contract has ended with us, but she is very much on her mind.
A gathering where I see all my relatives and all the ones I've gone to school with. And we have grown together all our lives here, and we all know each other. So it is a great time to talk to each other, as we don't have any vehicles for some of us elders that we don't go visit one another. Like when my mother's state, we used to go visiting, walking or going on horseback for long distance from here to across the river. That's where my mother lived.
So this is one of the elders from group, Mary Coquitte's left hand. She has been coming for years. And I had just asked her a bit about elders group and kind of what that meant to her. And so what she had said was that it was just a nice way to gather and to connect with people, and especially for folks that, may not have cars and have a harder time getting together. It provides that opportunity. And she mentions in her mom's day, they would, ride horses to go visit their neighbors. And so, that way of kind of just going around and visiting your neighbors isn't accessible for all the elders if they can't drive or they don't have a vehicle. So the Mînî Thnî Elders Wellness Group is part of home care and the falls prevention program. And we aim to provide comprehensive support to elders and older adults to age safely in their own home, improve their well-being, and reduce their risk of falling. So it's facilitated by home care, and then we have lots of support from Donna and Cedric and Bear with food services. We now have medical transportation driving the elders, which has been incredible. And we have the incredible Diane from the crisis team, who does so much for us in keeping the group running.
And we have recently joined Cleo.
Yes, with home care. Yes, so we have a few folks in home care that are very regularly involved. So Cleo LaBelle and Lee Daniels that help us, and Kelly as well often helps us. So it's a weekly group for Stoney Nakoda elders and older adults. It's every Thursday from 11:30 to 2:30. If we cancel a group, we get heck from the elders. So we try to make it very consistent, because we've had times where, the roads are bad, or, we've had to cancel if when Sinkin and I were both running it, like if there was one day we were both sick, and we got an earful, which really speaks to, how much they like to come and how much that consistency is important. So it runs all year round. We don't take any breaks for summer. So we do provide transportation. We've just recently gotten medical transportation driving the elders, which is excellent. For a while, Sinkin and I were going out and picking everyone up, which was a lot of fun, but pretty busy as well. And every week the elders enjoy a home-cooked meal. We do an exercise session, and then we do an activity. And we'll talk a little bit later about what that looks like. And we've also started to do a lot of field trips with them as well. This is Paul Chiniquay, who also comes every week and has lots of really lovely things to say.
It means speaking our language in a group. And it is always good for us, because some of us, only know broken English, and we do not know what it means. So gathering place where the past could be spoken in our Yitzka Iabi language. So some of us come to enjoy that here on a weekly basis, and this is where we can have our weekly eat out, and the staff here feed us for the day, and that's good too. And yes, I think it's trying to keep a culture.
So this began in 2018. Anne and Sicken started to implement a falls prevention policy, as per kind of accreditation, to identify and support individuals at risk of falling. So they established a fall screening tool, and the plan with that was that any folks age 55 and over should be screened, and then younger folks that might have some medical stuff going on may benefit from being screened as well. And on some of the tables there is a screen, and we can send this out as well afterwards. So it's the Stoney Health Services client fall risk screen, and so you can have a look. It's on most of the tables. I think, Gabe, I don't have one for you, but I can give you this one afterwards. But it has a bunch of questions that just give us a sense of what people's risk level may be at, and also, what it's kind of a multifactorial assessment to determine where they might need some support. So there's questions like, have you slipped or fallen in the past 12 months? Are you fearful of falling? Some questions about mobility and strength, but also dizziness. Have you had your medications reviewed in the last year? Have you had your eyes checked? So it gives us some different information, and then we can, if we feel like we need to bring in some more supports, we can look at, do they need to see their doctor? Do they, need a review from pharmacy, from physio? Do they need a home assessment? So once we have that risk level for falling from levels 1 to 4, then we can pick out those key pieces to look at and provide intervention to mitigate these risks, and also provide some education to the clients and their families. So this was a very lovely algorithm that was produced at that time, just to kind of indicate, if this happens, if they're at mild risk, what do you do, moderate risk, and kind of going from there. What we did after we started to screen people is we needed kind of an efficient way for them to see different healthcare practitioners, because it can be kind of overwhelming for one person to then be referred to OT, PT, dietitian, their doctor, pharmacy. So we created a falls prevention clinic, and we invited the folks who were identified as high risk of falling to come. So we rented the gymnasium at the Bearspaw Youth Center, and we had OT, occupational therapy, we had physio, we had a nurse, and we had a dietitian, and actually Satya came from the pharmacy. And we sat down with each individual and just kind of reviewed, everything with them. From there, we provided recommendations. So did they need some, safety equipment for their home? Did they need a more in-depth medication review with their doctor? Did they need some physio for strengthening? And I also offered a strength and balance exercise class every week at the health center. And that was kind of, do about 30 minutes of exercise, have tea, snack, and a visit. So once we did this falls prevention clinic a few times, we kind of got through the list of people. We're like, okay, we know the folks in the community who are at high risk of falling. We've done our assessment. We've provided our recommendations. And then we were like, what do we do now? Because people would have these recommendations, and they maybe were still at risk at home. And so from there, we started the first elders group. Just to bring people together and be able to do exercise together, do some health education, and just have some connection. So we had a weekly elders group. We would do exercise. We would have lunch, a simple lunch of soup and bannock. This was offered up at the, when we rented space at the Good Stoney Elders Lodge. So when home care was there, we would use the boardroom there.
The elders group was prior to that. It started in that, that far, used to be that far boardroom.
That was a different group.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Turning Point ran that.
Elders group, that's where it started.
Right.
That's what I was referred to when I first began. It was the elders.
Okay.
It was different, but it was through the elders group.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them that were in there.
Yeah.
Going to do elders.
Yeah, so that was kind of a different, that was turning point, and so it was kind of a different purpose of the group.
When it was through the health center.
Right.
There's a whole bunch that came.
Right, yeah, I know it was, I think it was some of the staff from the Turning Point that helped to run it though. So it was an elders group that was kind of a different intention from the one we have today.
Yeah.
So this was the one that came out of our falls prevention policy. And we would do falls prevention bingo, which was translated in Stoney. And we had about 12 to 15 elders who attended regularly, and we provided transportation as well at that time. So this, of course, shut down in March 2020 due to COVID. So we had quite a pause where we couldn't really do anything. I know I was away on maternity leave, but I know Sicken and Ann were looking at, what are other falls prevention programs doing, and some were doing virtual, and they kind of, looked into that, but there were some barriers for doing virtual programs with a lot of the folks. So in summer of 2021, Sicken and I started to do home visits, and we went to see, a lot of the folks that we knew were at risk of falling. And so we would do a falls screen. We would, Sicken would look at their home and their equipment and see if there's any ways we could support in that area. I would do a mobility assessment. And we also did a mental health screen, including a MOPA, which is kind of a cognitive screen. And I would provide each elder with an exercise booklet of resistance band exercises for elders and some exercise bands as well. The main thing that came out of this, every time Sicken and I left the house, we were just like really hit by every person we met had such high levels of grief and isolation and loss. And that was really common during COVID, but there was kind of an extra layer of that, I think, for lots of the elders that were at home. So we knew we have to get folks together again, and we need to, build a sense of community again. So in fall of 2021, we were able to begin with COVID restrictions, with some social distancing, masks, and we were able to run it in the newly renovated community kitchen, which was amazing. That's when we got our amazing chefs to come cook, or that were in the kitchen, and they would cook for us. So Donna and Cedric and Lorraine at the time, and just providing the most incredible home-cooked meals for the elders. And that's also when Diane came, and Bodine at the time, and started to work with us, which was such a great addition to the operation of the group. And so we started to gather weekly, and in no time, a great core group was formed. So elders group today, we now run it in this room at the health center in room 170. We get between 15 to 25 elders that come every week.
I said consistently?
Sorry?
I said consistently.
Consistently, yeah. We often sit at around 18, 19. But we have up to 25, so we're always kind of ready, we try to, Donna does a good job with the food planning. Transportation, we probably have maybe 12 people that we kind of have on our transportation list, but I'd say about 10 people are brought every week. And then we have 5 or 10 elders every week who drive themselves to the group. And we celebrate together. We celebrate holidays, we celebrate birthdays. We've been going on field trips. We try to have our monthly calendar, which should be on some of the tables, so that the elders know what to expect and what we're going to be up to each week. And we've developed this incredible roster of community partners who support the group. So we have folks that come and volunteer and help serve the elders. Their lunch and their tea and their coffee and visit. We've had folks visit or host us, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, some of the specific trips. And then we get donations as well. They'll bring, bingo prizes for us to share with the elders, and Christmas presents. So it's really been really neat to kind of see that community grow. And then we do exercise every week. So we may do Tai Chi. We have a kind of an accessible video that we put on that people can do standing or sitting. Or we do an exercise session with resistance bands as well. And that has really grown. It was slow to start, hey? But after a little while, I'd look around and I'm like, everyone's doing the exercises. Yes. So, you know, we still tease a little bit. They moan and groan sometimes when I say we're doing the exercises, but yeah, most folks participate, which is really awesome, really fun to do together.
Doing Tai Chi movements, I do them at home too. So, and for the body is nothing without the legs. So I started working on my legs. I'm getting ready to dance for powwow again this coming year. And April 7 will be a time of my big day. It's supposed to be 74 years old, but I do not feel that old. Yeah.
So with every program, we have challenges. So transportation has been a challenge in the past. That's why Satan and I got our class 4s and started driving. So right now we've got great support, which is excellent. Staffing can be a challenge as well. You know, we have a really great core team, but if one of us is away, we can feel the shortage. But you know, we have so many great volunteers. We have some folks that come every single week, and there's some weeks that I'm like, oh, I don't know what we would do if, you know, Lisa from the Kenmore Museum wasn't here just handing out soup and helping out. So that's one of the ways that we've kind of mitigated a staffing issue. There's things that can, you know, affect any program in the community. So when there's weather events, if the roads are bad, when there's funerals, that can affect our attendance as well. Our group is growing, which is a great thing, but can also be a bit of a challenge. So our, you know, space is a challenge, but also sometimes offering activities that maybe are a little bit more hands-on. Some of the art projects, or cooking projects that require a little bit more support can be challenging if we have like 22 people. So it's a good problem to have, but we just have to adjust a little bit. You know, budget's always a constraint with any program. We have been lucky to, last year we got a grant through TC Energy, and we're looking at some other grants for this year. And then space. So if you've seen us in here on Thursdays, we're pretty cozy with everyone, but we're doing our best with what we've got. Yeah, Diane, anything to add at this point?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out a few things too, that when elders do come, so we try to create a safe space for them. So you've got tradition. Elders are highly respected, so when they are in our presence, we make it known that we are aware that they are here, and so we start off by offering them tea, coffee, whatever. All they have to do is come and sit down and enjoy the group. That's it. We do everything from making their teas, putting their sugar creams together, always have snacks on the table. If they want extras, we provide the extras. Anything that they request, we try to oblige by all the requested needs, and just creating a safe space for them and making them know that this is their space. They can guide us too at the same time. Like for example, the prayers. So Elder pointed out that, you know, we should be praying just before we start eating, or pray first and then eat.
The food should be on the table.
Yeah. So we make those adjustments. We oblige by their request, and we're trying to follow with traditions and protocols as well. And then just having that special bond and kinship that I've created with all the elders, that we've created with all the elders, and having sick and leave, the elders were upset and whatnot. But you know, we've adjusted from that, and elders seems to be understanding of that as well. And then again, most importantly, we are guided by the elders who teaches us the traditions and protocols.
Thank you. Yeah. And we're so lucky we have both Jeanette and Diane who translate for us at different points. And so if we're not sure if everything is understood what we're talking about, we have such great resources to make sure that that's accessible. And then we also just ask for lots of feedback of like, what kind of activities do you want to do? Where do you want to go on a field trip? You know, what do you want the group name to be? So we spent a long time working on the group name, and so Mînî Thnî Elders Wellness Group is what they came with, but we really want this to be their group, right? And yes, we're sprinkling in a bit of falls prevention, you know, and health kind of education here and there, but really it's about that social connection and that safety and having a place and a time where they feel honored and connected. Yeah, we'll talk about some of our community partners because it just feels very exciting. We've had lots of support from the Marigold Public Library and Rose Reed, she's now retired, but she has come to the group lots and done presentations, done activities with the elders.
And she made the books for us too, remember?
Yes, yeah, and she's provided us with some copies of some really great resources about the area and stories. Both the Canmore and Cochrane Rotary Clubs have been quite involved. They've come and volunteered their time and just come and visited and helped out. The Wazin Ichinabiti Friendship Center in Cochrane has also hosted us several times for lunch. We're going there in March, on March 12th. And so that's been really lovely. We load up the vans, we go to Cochrane. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's right by Little Caesars. So we go in there and they will make, stew and dessert, and we've done Tai Chi all together there. And I think that's a really, it's kind of special time for the elders to feel hosted and honored, right? And maybe there's times in Cochrane where they haven't felt honored. And so I feel like it's a nice opportunity for maybe some reconciliation with the community. And the folks that are involved that we've met with have been really lovely and really excited to be able to host. They're like, this is the dream of the whole place, is to be able to, welcome elders. The BAMP Center has been really connected with us as well. So they hosted us last October, so a year and a half ago, and I've got some great photos. I'll talk about that trip at that time, but they've hosted us. They've come here when we were in the kitchen. They brought their Indigenous screenwriting residency cohort to visit with the elders, and so there was like 30 of them maybe, and so it was Indigenous screenwriters from all over North America that were doing this residency program, and so they came and shared lunch and just connected, which was really neat. And sometimes we just have some other staff that drop by and volunteer. They text or email us and say, can we come hang out with the elders? And they're always welcome. The Bow Valley Christmas Campaign has provided Christmas presents to the group the last couple of years, and just really lovely gifts that has been really nice to add to our Christmas celebration together. Trans-Canada Pipeline, they gave us a grant last year that really supported the program as well. The White Museum has been really fun to work with. We've gone there twice. They've come here. The elders have had a chance to go through their archives, and they brought some of the archives here. So a lot of images of Stoney Nakoda people, and then if folks, if they find photos they'd like a copy of, they will take, all the information and print a copy for them, which is really nice. Our last visit there was in December, and they hosted us. They fed us lunch. They had a special space for us, and then they brought out a lot of the Stoney artifacts, so a lot of beadwork and leather work, and that was really lovely for the elders to pass it around and enjoy.
I appreciated them letting us smudge the artifacts.
Yeah.
Something that hasn't been, which should have been done, but haven't been done, and we were able to smudge what was brought out. Which I believe the artifacts there should be all smudged. The ISCA, couple of ISCA representatives there said that they haven't been smudged, and we were honored to smudge the artifact. That was a good experience.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. They were like, you can touch, you can smell, like it was very hands-on. It was not a stuffy museum experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were very focused on creating kind of an immersive and, experience that felt very connected. Yeah. The Canmore Museum, we've, built a relationship with them. The director of the museum, Lisa, she comes every week to volunteer. She just loves hanging out with the elders. So they've hosted us there where we got to look at their exhibits. And then they also had an artist who does wool felting, who did like a presentation and a bit of an experiential activity with the elders there. And Lisa has been, she got all the materials, all the leather to make leather bags with the elders. So that's what we've been working on the past 3 weeks. And so each elder has been able to design, the size, the shape, and pick the leather they want to use. And we're just kind of working away on those. And then there will be kind of a day where we do, so she's making individual stencils for everyone so they can choose which kind of, we're going to be painting them. So she's been very involved and loves to come and hang out. And she's actually organized for next Thursday that Shasta McCoy, who is the wool felting artist, she's going to come here and do a felting workshop with them. So everyone can make a little wool critter, which will be really fun. So yeah, Lisa's a big dreamer. She's like, the sky's the limit. So we've got lots of fun things ahead of us with the Canmore Museum. And then the Bow Valley Food Alliance Network has been an awesome partner. They helped us to get a pursuit coach bus last summer to take the elders to Moraine Lake. So we had this luxury trip to Moraine Lake rather than us driving the vans. And so they, facilitated that for us and covered the expenses. They're working on getting applying for some funding so that we can provide fresh food bags for folks from Fresh Roots. So we're hoping that's coming in the next few months. And they also just gave us the funds to have an indoor kind of year-round growing, our own grow up here. So we're getting some hydroponic arrow gardens that we'll have in this space, and we'll grow some herbs and mint and chamomile and whatever the elders want. Basically, we've got a list of that. So we're just hoping to provide a little bit of fresh food or seasoning as well. So they've been really fun to work with and also stop by and just, serve lunch and meet with the elders. And then the Cochrane SPCA has also come, and we're just kind of gradually getting connected with them. But, barriers that we've noticed, like they come and, they'll come to the community to provide affordable dog food, but lots of the elders, may not be able to get there. So we're working on them being able to bring it here on Thursdays, just so that there's kind of some barriers reduced. Did I miss anything?
Just the one where we went to Golf Center where they got to scrape high.
Yes, I got some really good pictures, so I'll save that for, It's been really neat to see that, to see the connection with communities kind of east and west. And Diane, you've mentioned that that's maybe kind of a newer thing, okay? Or that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, the town of Cochrane, we have the mayor that comes to join us in the Mînî Thnî, and he serves and chit-chats with the elders, and so that's unique in its own way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the trip to Lake Louise, our elders, most of them said they've never been to Lake Moraine, or talking about how they don't spend as much time on the west end as they do on the east end. So that was a conversation opener for the elders for sure.
And actually, I should have put parks on here as well, because we have had nice connections with both Alberta Parks and going to Kananaskis. We've had folks from Parks come and join us and meet the elders. And then when we've gone to Banff, like we've been to the Cave and Basin and also Moraine Lake, and they have rolled up the red carpet. So,
Yeah,
you know,
they closed it down for us, so
Yeah.
we could go and enjoy inside the cave and basin.
yeah,
And Charlie got to do some smudging in there along with Jeanette, I do believe. They did the smudging in there as well, so that was really nice to see.
yeah. So it's been really great to connect, with other communities and with parks and make things a bit more accessible for the elders as well. Okay, so what's next for elders group? So we are, doing well with the programming. We have lots of people that are coming. We do need to go back a little bit to the falls prevention roots and kind of work on some program evaluation of, is what we're doing working as far as falls prevention. We know that what we're doing is working, on some levels because people are coming, but we do need to work on doing a little bit more multifactorial assessment just to kind of track the program and if we're kind of hitting those targets. We do want to kind of branch out to include family members as well, so that we can provide some education days about falls prevention as well. So we can, speak to the elders about this, but we want all the community stakeholders to also be involved so that they also can notice like, maybe we should change something in the home to make it a bit safer, or just some things to watch for to keep everyone safe. And more field trips. When we got off the bus from Moraine Lake, Linda Rabbit said, well, now I've seen Moraine Lake, but I've never been to Lake Louise, so please take us there. We will do that. So I told Michelle from the Bow Valley Food Alliance, we will need another bus next summer to Lake Louise. And she's like, yeah, done. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have, we've got a bit of a system for it now, and it's working well. So we'll continue to do that. The eventual goal, the dream, is to offer this 2 days a week. The elders certainly would like that. And from a exercise point of view, the research shows that if we can do exercises at least twice a week, we'll get, that's kind of the minimum amount to have really good benefits. So this is the dream and the goal, and we'll work towards that. And then, of course, securing more funding for our group, because that will help us to get to our goal of 2 days a week. So this is kind of a fun part where we can go through some of the activities that we've done over the past few years. So this was making some like little tarts, pies. We've got Lee and Marlene One Spot. We've danced. Liza's in there dancing. We've made pies. So, when we had that kitchen space, Donna would come up with these amazing cooking projects where the elders would be, chopping up fruit. We've made jam. We've, done lots of things, and then make a pie for them to bring home. And from a therapeutic perspective, we're like, oh, this is, using your fine motor skills. Like, it's, pie making is like rehab. It's good therapy. So yeah, we've had some great food. This is our cooking team. We've had some amazing, Thanksgiving meals, Easter meals, some great feasts. This was at the Wazin Ichinabiti, so they were able to put our Tai Chi video on, and we all did it together. So you can see one of the volunteers doing it. We have Lacey Youngman in the background, who was one of our rehab assistant student with us at the time. And this was a really lovely day. One of our first field trips was to Mount Lorette Ponds in Kananaskis, and it was just Bluebird Day. We brought a picnic. We went for a little walk around the lake, and a lot of the elders told us stories about how they would go there as children, and they'd go for a swim, and they would, harvest plants and berries. So it was a really nice day. This was such a special day at the Banff Center. I feel like Cecilia Baptiste's smile says it all. So they invited us. They had a high tanning residency. So they had Indigenous folks from kind of all over the world. There were some folks from New Zealand. And so they had 2 bison hides. They treated us to lunch at MacLab at the Banff Center, which if you've ever been there, it's a very tasty restaurant. So we all had lunch, and then we got to go join the students learning about hide scraping and tanning. And I remember Cecilia said she'd never worked with a hike before. She's like, no one ever taught me. She's like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it if they say I can do it, because I wouldn't want to wreck it. And then she got going, and she's like, you can pick me up at midnight. Like, I'm gonna stay here all day. And we have Diane Ridsdale on the other side, but it was really lovely. I didn't include, there was a fire, so we had elders sitting around the fire, and they were saying the smell of the hide and the fire kind of reminded them of times of doing this with their grandparents. So lots of nostalgia with that. We have curls. This is the indoor curling setup at the kitchen. We have dressed up for Halloween. We've celebrated Christmas together. This was at the Cave and Basin. So they did offer us when we were there, they're like, if you want some time in the cave for ceremony, we will shut it down for you, like for the public, and you can have 15 minutes in there. We took 20, but no one complained. But, this was in July. So it was a busy day at the Cave and Basin, but it was incredible. It was really special. And there were some elders that said they had never been there before. So it was, really lovely. After the Cave and Basin, this was a big day. We went to the White Museum after the Cave and Basin, and we had to pick up coffees at Timmy's on the way home because everyone was falling asleep. This was a group that we had in conjunction with the youth team. So when they were running their youth camp in the summer, so they got together to work on projects together. It was making ribbon bags. So that has been, each summer we've had a session with the youth and the elders making something, working on it together. So here's a picture of everyone together. This is Moraine Lake. That was a really special day. And so I don't know if some folks know about Moraine Lake, but you can't just drive in there anymore. Parks has restricted the access because Lake Louise and Moraine Lake are so busy. So for Moraine Lake, you have to take a tour. You have to book a tour bus to go in. So this was so great that we got our coach bus. Our driver was incredible. We just adopted him. We're like, John, you're part of the group now. And Parks just let us roll right up and set up a picnic in the parking lot. So we had a really kind of special access that day. And it was the perfect day. It was just Bluebird. So this was our picnic spot. We just took over a parking space there. We brought our tables and chairs, and John set them all up for us. And then this was a day when the White Museum came here and they brought archives. So the elders were able to look through pictures and kind of look back in time and request any photos that they wanted.
Yes, I think our levels kind of go back up and try to stay here and be more strong, get our levels back up, and I think that's what happens here weekly for all attendees here from the community, older people that come.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, thank you.
And, like I have a cousin here, few cousins, and we're closely related, and I think he's always excited to come, and he's calling or texting me on my cell. And here he's always late. I don't see him here yet.
Well, you were about 20 minutes early today.
But he will get here, and
Yeah.
I enjoy that too.
But that is kind of the PowerPoint part of the presentation. Diane, I don't know if you have anything to add. Any questions?
For those of us who are here on Thursdays,
I'm so sorry.
I sometimes see elders what's going on. I don't want to, because we're so soft, I don't want to get in the way. I'm not always trying to fix it, but I'm I want to need a little bit of help. Is it open
if someone has a break in their schedule or cancellations, would they like want to do inside it and see if you need a helping hand with anything? Like without,
We love helping hands.
Yeah.
Where people just can't come in and like help themselves to lunch.
Well, no.
No, I know that's not what you mean, but I'm just gonna add that in. But yeah, we love having help, and if you want to even just come in and say hi to folks, that's great too. Like it's just a really nice opportunity to connect, and having it in the health center, although we have some space constraints, it has had its benefits for, you know, folks being able to be like, oh, I'm just gonna go talk to the eye doctor, right? Or home care, you know, their nurse might come down and check their vitals, or we've had public health come and do their vaccines, and they did that, you know, you guys came and did that at the kitchen too, which is great. But every fall they're like, when are they gonna come give us our shots? So that's been, you know, such a great way to make that accessible for them as well.
We can come more often too if needed.
Okay.
Or if they want.
Awesome. But yeah, we love having visitors, we love having guests, and it just kind of adds to the fun. So that's a great
I
question.
came in as a staff support
Mhm.
because I work here. I come in to help out, but they start serving me. I am so being and
And that goes to our youth protocols. All elders are respected and it's a safe space.
And so on the tables, there's some copies of the Fallsvers screens. And oh, sorry, thank you. I'll just also hold this up. So with the Fallsvers screen, like have a look at that. We can send it out by email. This is something that anyone in the clinic can use. So, and you know, you might be working with a child, but you notice grandma's maybe a bit off balance, or maybe she's like, oh, I had a fall, you know. If you're not sure, you can always, if they're open to the referral, you can refer to myself for OT. And then we can even do a call and a screen, or you could, you know, have the screen with you when you're doing home visits or have it available in the clinic and just say, is it okay if I ask you a few questions? You know, we just want to make sure that everyone is staying safe, and then that kind of gives us a baseline of where they're at. And then you can either, maybe just share that with OT or PT. If they're with home care, you can share that with, you know, their home care nurse. But we do want to make sure that we're not missing these things, right? And, you know, I've had referrals before where it's like someone wants a walker. And so I call them and find out, oh, it's because they've had a fall, right? So then I can do the screen, and then I can provide more supports beyond just give you a walker, but let's look at everything else that's going on. So it's a great tool just as a conversation starter and get a baseline, whether that's in the clinic or in the community. As far as elders group and who can come, we're very loose. There are no rules. People don't need to register. It's just drop in. There's no age limit. It tends to be about 60 plus. We don't have a really firm, you know, kind of strict age limit. They can just show up here. If they need transportation, they can reach out to me by phone or text, and we can organize a ride for them as well. So, you know, feel free to share the poster or just to kind of share that as an option for folks. And that some of the information is available on the calendar as well. Yeah. So, you know, we're cozy in here, but we'll find ways to fit more people as needed. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Oh, no, we don't. We're good on here.
Okay, there's no Zoom questions. Okay. All right, well, thank you guys so much for your time. If you have any specific questions, just you can come ask Diane and I.